Before we get into the video, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. I mean, come on, what are you doing if you're not subbed to me by now? My content is fire, from stop motions, news videos, reviews, music occasionally. All my social media accounts are linked down below, and now, let's get straight to it. Okay, this is the week of CinemaCon for Rise of the Beast, so there's a lot of Rise of the Beast news coming out since yesterday. There's a lot of stuff I want to cover. So, first up here, we have the character posters for RC, Wheeljack, and Bumblebee. These just dropped like 20 minutes ago at the time of this recording. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Pablo, Wheeljack, whatever y'all want to call him. He looks cool. I mean, it is what it is. You know, he's got the big nerdy glasses. I do see some people fail to notice that he actually does sort of have his G1 accurate fins. They're very stylized, but he has like these antennas that jut out on the side of his head to sort of replicate the antennas. And if you guys remember in my video from a couple weeks ago about Silver Optimus's description of Wheeljack's supposed updated head design in some scene descriptions from the movie that he talked about a few weeks ago, he said that the mirrors, I believe, that are on his back here, they sort of flip up to replicate his G1 fins. That's what Silver Optimus was saying. I don't know how true that is, but that's just what he was talking about in terms of a redesign. We don't really see that here on the poster, but yeah, other than that, he's alright. He's going to have a Spanish accent in this movie, which I don't mind. Wheeljack is prone to multiple different accents over the course of 40 years. He's had, a Southern accent, and a New York Italian accent, so why not add Spanish to the list? Go ahead, I really don't care. But Bumblebee looks pretty cool. Typical Bumblebee Travis Knight design that we've been seeing since 2018, obviously just updated for this movie slightly. And yeah, looking cool, big blue circular eyes and looking a little cute there. Typical, what would you call this universe of movies now? Nightverse? I see people calling it Capelverse, Nightverse. I guess Capelverse nowadays. But anyway, RC, she looks great. She's my favorite design out of the Autobots, I'd say, besides, I don't know, it's kind of a tie between Optimus and RC, maybe, and Mirage is a close third for me, but RC is definitely one of my favorite designs of the movie in terms of Transformers, and she looks great here in the poster. She's got her arm up doing something there. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, she doesn't have her goggles up there. And yesterday there was also a magazine featuring Rise of the Beast that I don't know if it was leaked or officially put out yesterday. We don't really know for sure, but we have some new images here of the movie, and we have an interview with Lorenzo de Bonaventura and Stephen Caple Jr. this time around talking about the movie, and they do reveal some key details about the movie, some that we already know and some that we did not know yet. So first up here, I want to cover these images. We have here Noah and Elena. It looks like they're either in the Autobot base, which is the abandoned warehouse, or it's the aftermath of the museum fight. This looks like the aftermath of the museum fight right here. This image where there's a little bit of fire, it looks like, back there, and some papers all over the floor, I guess. And then this one looks like they're at the Autobot base. Yeah, this first one is definitely when they first meet the Autobots and they're at the base after the museum fight towards the beginning of the movie, because you see Elena sitting perched up there, and I think that's a scene in the first teaser trailer in December when she's like, this can't be real, and then RC waves at her like that. So I definitely think that's where that comes from. And then the second image is when they're in the museum and maybe Optimus or RC are talking to them after the battle. So yeah, not too much with these images here, just, you know, basic human shots. Now for some excerpts from the interview of the magazine. I'm reading off ROTB trailer on Twitter because the images taken from this magazine are absolutely impossible to read, so I'm just going to go through the bullet points that people have already found. So thank you, ROTB. Official trailer is out on Twitter for this. So first up here we got Stephen Caple Jr. is talking about Scourge, and he says, I like to pour a lot into the villains. I like to make them layered and dimensional. Producer describes Scourge as a nightmare and has no purpose in life other than destruction. So, I mean, yeah, this sounds pretty cool. What I'm assuming the producer is Lorenzo de Bonaventura, and he sort of has a bit of a simpler, more what's the word I'm thinking of? I guess you could say cliche, but then when Caple Jr. is commenting on him, he says that there's a lot more to him and he's layered and dimensional. So I don't know, it kind of seems weird that Lorenzo is saying something else while Steven is saying another thing. So I mean, I don't know, Scourge, he might have a background that's pretty dynamic based off the leaks. We're not sure what's going on with him. There's a lot of rumors being thrown around, but I'm sure it could be interesting. And then the next thing here, De Bonaventura states, if you set it in any time after Michael Bay's movies, you're forced into one reality. He may be forced to marry them, but for the moment, we don't have to. So, yeah, he comments on, the whole thing about Optimus being different than what we see in the 2007 movie, and this also correlates to the video I talked about yesterday when he did the interview with Collider. So, they seem to be playing it both sides, where they don't want to say it's a reboot, or they don't want to say it's a sequel to, or a prequel to the Michael Bay movies. So they just want to get everybody in the theaters, as many people as possible. They don't want to let Bayverse fans down or reboot fans down. To be honest with you guys, they should just go with it being a reboot. I really don't see that many Bayverse people advocating for a sequel to The Last Night, because the movie was pretty terrible. I mean, let's all be real here. I mean, even if you like the movie objectively, it's really not good at all. I love I like Age of Extinction. I love Revenge of the Fallen, and I mean, The Last Night, I just don't love. I've only seen it a couple times. Every other movie I've seen, like, over a dozen times easily. So I mean, they should just go. They should just stick to the reboot aspect of things. But I'm sure if it does well, they are going to continue with the reboot narrative behind the scenes. They're probably not going to announce it or talk about it more openly with the public, but maybe they will, who knows. And then it says here, Mirage has fully accepted Earth's culture and who humans are as people. He makes pop culture references from the 90s as he appreciates humans and their culture. This sounds, again, like a Jazz thing. I don't know why this couldn't have been Jazz. Change up the head design and change up the head to make him look like Jazz, and there you go, Autobot Jazz. Mirage is still cool, they can switch up characters. It's been that way for decades, so why should I be opposed to it? And the next thing here, Mirage is an outcast. He's a rebel. Everyone follows Optimus Prime's orders except for Mirage, who is the comedic relief and heart of the film. He is the key to connecting the robots to the humans and preaches to Optimus that there is something in the humans they do not see. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I mean, I'm not opposed to Mirage being that way. I don't know, I just don't want him to be the sort of cliche pop culture reference type character, and that's sort of the vibe I'm getting. I mean, obviously he's gonna have a personality, which is great. I just don't want him to be I just don't want him to be the typical character like that, you know what I mean? And then it says in the movie they're going to be visiting Iceland and Canada, so your guess is as good as mine on why they're going to be going to Iceland and Canada. We have no idea yet. I don't think these locations were stated in any of the test screening leaks or any plot leaks from the past 2 years, so that's pretty interesting that they're dropping this detail on us when we didn't even know before. And the Predacons are the natural enemies to the Maximals and are being kept a little more under wraps, although the producer reveals the first Predacon to be Scorponok. So yes, of course, we did know by now that Scorponok will probably be in the movie. We have the mainline figure. We heard in test screening leaks that he is in the movie along with a Scorpion army. And it seems like there's even more Predacons in the movie that we don't even know about, or they're probably going to be in a flashback scene fighting the Maximals at the beginning of the movie. Who knows? And then Stephen Caple Jr. reveals that there are 2 more entities and that he has surprises up his sleeve for this movie. So there's 2 more entities or factions in this movie that we don't know about. I'm thinking it's Unicron, and the other one is either the Predacons or Decepticons. I'm leaning towards more Unicron and the Decepticons. I think Megatron and his team are going to be making an appearance at the end of the movie or during a post-credits or end-credit scene. Or it could be the Predacons, either or. And the very last thing I want to cover in this video on the TFW boards, we have, I think this was Rise of the Beast Trailer's TFW account. He says here, someone reached out to me, but I have to keep it safe, obviously, due to NDAs. He's saying that somebody reached out to him from the test screening that happened yesterday, this Monday, and he says, what I can gather, the film is a lot simpler than we think, judging from theories and people saying it's a mess and convoluted. The story is easy to follow, even for people who aren't Transformers fans. The person said the movie was great and easily the best one out of all 6. Gave it an 8 to 9 out of 10. And then he also writes here, I only asked for a rating and how much robot screen time there is. They replied, there is a lot of robot screen time to the point where they take up most of runtime on screen. Very little time where they are not front and center. So this is great news. We've been hearing mixed receptions on the test screenings. This is definitely one of the most positive ones I've covered in this video and heard. So this is a good sign. It means that they've chosen a good cut, and those rumors about the cut of the film right now being a mess are probably outdated or misconceptions or just straight out not true at all. So this is great news. It gives me a little bit more hope, even though I do have a lot of hope for this movie still. And yeah, an 8 to 9 out of 10, saying it's the best one out of all 6 sounds pretty good in my book. I want it to be at least as good as the 2007 movie or Dark of the Moon. And if it blows me away and it's even better than Bumblebee, I'm game. To be honest with you guys, Bumblebee at first I loved because it cleansed my palate after The Last Night. But over the past few years, Bumblebee has sort of bored me a little bit in terms of story being like super basic. Like we've seen this type of story so many times in movies, and especially 80s movies, and I think this is the movie that we Transformers fans are craving for. Maybe not exactly. I know a lot of people wanted a classic Autobots versus Decepticons story first, which I do agree with. I think they should have went with that, but who knows? I think this movie could turn out good or decent at best. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think about the new posters, the details that were dropped in the new magazine, and what do you guys think about the positive reception of this new test screening from yesterday? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye!